Farm Basics is brought to you by the Liberty Link trait and Liberty herbicide from Bayer. The most reliable weed management solution, Liberty Link and Liberty herbicide are the link to efficient row crop production and sustainable weed management.
During our Farm Basics time today, we're going to discuss some of the benefits of reduced tillage. So if you're a non-farmer, we just want you to understand some of the things that farmers are doing to make their ground better.
Well, you know, if you were in conventional till and you're used to seeing fields look completely black, you probably think, wow, there's a lot of plant residue on top of the ground here. I'm looking at it on the end rows of our field, and I'm saying, oh man, there isn't very much residue left. We had a lot of breakdown last fall. So everybody's idea of what reduced tillage is may vary slightly, but when we're talking about reduced tillage, we're talking about doing very little tillage. Like here we've done some strip till, you know, on probably 8 or 10 inch wide bands every 30 inches throughout the field. So maybe we're tilling a third of the field up, just right where we're going to plant, but the rest we're leaving the residue stand.
And the main reason why we started doing reduced tillage on our own farm is we have some hills. And what the government does is they will come out and determine whether your fields are considered highly erodible or not. So basically, if you have some hilly ground, they're going to call it highly erodible. And then you're required, if you want to remain in the government farm program, to keep a certain amount of residue on the surface of the soil in order to help prevent erosion.
And for farmers, this has really changed over the last few decades in the equipment that farmers have at their ready. Like for example here, this strip till machine, we didn't have a strip till machine 10 years ago. Knowing what I know now, I sure wish we did, because I like doing less tillage in our field. There's a lot of good benefits to that. And I also like how we can place our fertilizer deep in the soil while not having to till everything up. It's a pretty good deal.
Okay, so Darren said we didn't have a strip till machine 10 years ago, but what we did do is we no-tilled a fair amount of ground in this highly erodible land that we do have. And the problem with that is we had so much residue on the surface of the soil, we couldn't cut through that as well as what we would like to, so we didn't get as good a stand. We didn't have as many plants growing out in the field as what we thought.
Well, we couldn't cut through it, but the other thing is you have all this residue laying on top of the ground, and all of a sudden now you get these little tiny plants that have to push up through all that stuff, and it was really hard for them.
That was a little part of it, but the other thing is it kept the ground a lot cooler. And I mean, we're talking in the range of 6 to 8 degrees cooler in the spring versus our conventional till ground just across the fence. Okay, so to us that was a big problem because our corn or our soybeans didn't get nearly as good a start in the no-till ground. So with things like strip till, we like that because we get the benefits of conventional tillage where it's warm right in the row, yet we're able to leave lots of residue out here, so we more than meet the government's requirement on having residue out here. We have a lot less wind erosion, and we have a lot less rain erosion too.
Well, another good thing about reduced tillage is you don't have to spend all that time out in the field working up ground.
Yep.
I mean, I think back to when we were kids and how many field passes we'd have to make working those stalks in and then leveling things out, and then maybe another pass to incorporate some herbicide in the spring. And wow, there are a lot of guys doing at least 3 passes of tillage across the field. Now we just run one time with this strip till machine, and we put on our fertilizer application, our tillage, our seed bed preparation, all in one trip across the field.
The other nice thing about it is when we have all this residue out here, we're over time building soil organic matter a little bit, whereas if a farmer is doing full-scale tillage, he's decreasing his organic matter in the soil. And when he has less organic matter, that means he's going to have more problem with compaction, he's going to have less soil life there, he's going to have fewer nutrients available for future crops. There are a lot of bad things that happen when you deplete your soil's organic matter. So by reducing tillage, we can keep our organic matter levels where they are and even build them over time, which is great.
Well, there are a lot of things that farmers consider when they determine if they want to do full-scale tillage in their fields or do reduced tillage. One of those considerations may just be our weed of the week. Can you identify this week's weed?